want to focus on today, and I want to say vehicle truck checklist, but if I say that, most of you will probably log out. So I've decided to say, what do I put in my vehicle? Is that keeping everybody in their seats as opposed to saying truck checklist? What do I put in my vehicle? So this is an example of a vehicle with a local company. They had got it. They were getting ready to put equipment in it. You can see that it's pretty empty. They had put in these red metal shelves, and then they had put in these like Milwaukee basket systems, to hold different consumables, products, agents, that type of thing. And you can see kind of the system that they set up in here. What you guys are putting on your vehicles. Okay. I want to talk about what items you guys are putting on there, why you're putting them on there. If you have a vehicle checklist like you have, Javier, keep that with you. And as we go through, you might be adding some things on there, right? Because we might edit and make a new copy of this vehicle checklist, right? Because we might talk about some things that you want on that checklist. If you're not currently using a checklist, I would love for you to get a piece of paper and something to write with. And as we're going through this, start your vehicle checklist and you can finalize it later. Okay, so I talk about these all the time. Nobody does them. This is our opportunity to actually do them. Put it into categories. We're going to need equipment, supplies. That can include consumables, containment, content protection, floor protection, chemicals. Then we've got tools, PPE, inspection kit, and specialty totes, which we'll talk about. All right, so I like a checklist that you can use. You can fill it out, all of that. Okay, so let's talk equipment. All right, with equipment, I've just got some stuff on here. I've highlighted some things that may or may not go on your vehicle. We can talk about it. Air movers, I want a number. And if we put on the vehicle a certain amount of low profiles, axials, dual axials, and your centrifugal, because that's how your vehicle is stocked, you should have a specific line item for each one, right? Air scrubbers, I like to have 2 at least on a job, dehues 3 if we can get them on your vehicles. 2 air scrubbers and 3 dehues if possible, but you know what you have room for, but you need a number there. An E-test or a heater system. Your extraction wand, a lot of times you'll have the metal and you'll also have the rubberized. If that's true, you want 2 line items, or you need to say extraction wand 2. HEPA vacuum, inject to dry with mats if you put it on your vehicle, distribution box, shop vac, sump pump. Either you're on a truck mount vehicle or you've got a portable extraction system. Wall cavity dryer, that could be part of your inject to dry system, or it might be an Omni Dry or something. Your weighted extraction, whether that's a water claw or it's your rider. And then your zip pulls, but you can put zip pulls and consumables if you want to, but they're here in equipment. So this is what we've got. Let's talk about this. I highlighted air scrubbers because you have to have them. You should not leave the shop without a HEPA air scrubber. So if you need to rearrange your vehicle so there's designated space for your air scrubbers, do that. E-tests and heater systems, some people are putting them on their trucks, some people are not. So if this is very important, if your heating systems are not being stocked on the van daily and you're taking them out per job, take it off your truck checklist. Take it off. As soon as we have items on there that we're skipping over, it's on my list, but I'm not putting on my truck, the whole list becomes a wash. As soon as we're skipping over items, the whole list, right?
Yeah.
Is something we can throw away, right? So if we need to update this list because we made this like 3 months ago and now we're running things a little bit differently, then let's update our lists. Okay, so update that. Power distribution box, non-negotiable. Has to be on everybody's vehicle. Okay, shop vac, I like you to have it, but I want you to have your HEPA vacuum. We're going to get paid for the HEPA vacuum. We're not going to get paid for the shop vac. When I was at this this shop on Tuesday, and they have 6 lead vehicles and then 2 projects managers. So the project manager was talking to one of the leads, and he's like, all right, I want you to go back over there. Demo was finished last night. We need to shop vac everything. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are we shop vacuuming and not HEPA vacuuming? He's like, well, we only have 5 HEPA vacuums and I have 6 lead vehicles. I said, I know. And I walked past 3 HEPA vacuums in your warehouse on the way in today. Right? So if we have this equipment, we need to have it on the vehicles. If it's something like a HEPA vacuum, and not every vehicle has one, you need to talk to your owner and say, we need a HEPA vacuum on every vehicle. We need to order 2. Okay. This is also an organization that doesn't categorize anything as a category 1, which I'm fine with. If everything has some level of contamination on it, so we always started a category 2, that's fine. But if you have a category 2, we should not be shop vacuum. We should always be HEPA vacuuming. All right, so we have supplies. Now, guys, I'm going to be honest. I pulled these from an old Excel truck checklist, and I'm not happy with it at all, this list. This is just something for us to talk about, right? But let's talk about this. With supplies, I broke it down this way. You guys can choose to break it down how you want to, but I broke it down this way. My example isn't broken down this way, but I like it this way. Consumables, containment, contents and floor protection, and chemicals. Okay, now I'm going to tell you real quickly. I put tools in PPE. PPE could go under supplies for sure. I really like everybody having their own PPE tote. Right? I love everybody having their own PPE tote. It keeps their respirators clean and protected. It makes sure that they have their right size suits in their own PPE bag. They're responsible for making sure they have their gloves, they have their cartridge replacements, that their respirator is clean. I like a PPE tote for each individual person. Okay, so on my lists here, as we go through it, you're going to see it, kind of convoluted. I don't like it that way. I like everybody to have their own PPE tote, but we can talk about PPE as its own category. Okay, back to supplies. Trash bags, HEPA filters. I have 2 sizes here because that specific vehicle had 2 different air scrubbers on it. So I want to make sure I have both filters on there. Benefact wipes, Clorox wipes, Decon 30, furniture blocks, gloves large, HEPA vac bags. Then I have my 6 mils, both size rolls, my painter's plastic, and then continued sanding pads, Shockwave, staples, right? Spray adhesive. Okay, and then I have my tapes, and then I have my zippers. Now, real quick, I want to talk about this. I had a new owner who was setting up negative air for the first time. Okay, so we were talking through how to set it up. So this is not a picture of what he did, but it was just a good example that I had. So he set that up. He actually had a piece of plywood he was able to cut down to fit into the window, but then he couldn't get the lay flat to stay out. So I said, okay, do you have some spray adhesive? Do you have a staple gun that you can reinforce that outside edge of that lay flat and then staple it to the backside of the plywood? Do you have some spray adhesive that we can? He did not have spray adhesive. He didn't have staples. He didn't have a staple gun. I think both those 2, staples, a staple gun, and your spray adhesive are really, really important parts of any containment. A lot of people aren't carrying those. So I just wanted to put a plug in for those. The other thing is these trays for all of his dehues. A lot of people really liked that. You can find the cement trays in 3 different sizes that work really good for equipment. They're about $16 a piece. And if that's something you want to start doing in, your organization, putting those trays under your dehues, make sure that that's part of your supplies on your truck checklist. A lot of people are using 4 mil and 6 mil now. They're using the 6 mil on the mold jobs in the category 3, but they're using the 4 mil on everything else because it works just as good. It's giving them what they need, but it's significantly less expensive to get the 4 mil. So If you're carrying 4 mil and 6 mil, make sure that you have that there on your plastics. On this specific list, it wasn't broken down into my flooring protections. If we're carrying carpet shield, if we're doing rosin paper, if we're doing ram board, any of those flooring and content protection products you need to have in your supplies or your consumables, or you could have a separate section that's just called protection, flooring and contents protection. So that would include your ram board, your carpet shield, your rosin paper, potentially your furniture blocks, some moving blankets, right? That type of thing. So think about all of your contents and flooring protection items that should be on that checklist. Okay. All right. So supplies, guys, it can be an exhaustive list. I'm going to go back to this. If you're writing your own list, write these different subcategories down: consumables, containment, content and flooring protection, and chemicals. And make sure that you're filling out those 4 subcategories with everything you want to have on that vehicle. You know, don't just have Shockwave. It's a really good antimicrobial, but if you're using the client health and safety questionnaire and they write down that they're sensitive to chemicals, we better have a green product on our vehicle, right? Because if we're going to say we care about health and safety, they tell us they have chemical sensitivities, we better have an option that will work for them on our vehicle. So, right, consumables, containment, content, flooring protection, chemicals, right? Those are your subcategories for supplies. Okay, tools. Guys, I've got a couple different options here. Some people use this toolbox. If they have the kind of box vehicles, they're able to put a toolbox in there. Some people like this. And then once they have the toolbox, what they'll do is pull the tools they need and put them in like a tool bucket. You see right here, and then take what they need in the house with them. Then they bring it back, put the tools back in the toolbox, right? And the toolbox is labeled. So that's one method. Some people will have their individual tool backpacks. I've had a lot of companies that will get these tool backpacks. So each technician has their own tool backpack where they keep their own tools with them. So a couple of different options, but we need to make sure that we do have a method for keeping our tools on site, making sure they get in the house, and there's a way to inventory it before we leave the job to know that we've got all of our tools back. Just important that we have this. I have one company, and I love that they do this. They've one year they got everybody their own tool backpacks and gave them kind of initial tools in there. And then every time they have like a holiday, they bonus, or like at Christmas, they add additional tools to that, right? If it's everybody gets a chalk line this time, or everybody gets so it's something they kind of build on, which I think is great. But I like these individual tool bags or the individual toolboxes, depending on, but you need to have, a list of what that is. These tools right here: ladders, brooms, chalk line, charged batteries, cordless sprayer here, drill bits, drill set, got 2 of those, dust pans, extension cord 50 foot, right? I don't want the 100-foot extension cords. We're going to lose power flashlight, floor brush, guts, your demo bar, hammers, your infrared camera, cat saw, whatever it is that we're using. All right. Tools continued, lock boxes. This one I should have highlighted. Have a couple of lock boxes on your vehicle in case you're on a property that you need to go ahead and lock that up, and have a lock box available to you. Platform ladders are great. Here's the Protimeter complete set, pry bar, pump up sprayer, round brush sander, sawzall, sliders, stapler. I'm sorry, it's spelled wrong. I highlighted it to make sure you see the error. Swiffer mops and pads, tape measures, and then in like an individual tool pouch, you might have these things. But these are just some examples, guys, of tools that you might want to have. With these, where is it? Did I have charged batteries? I think it was on the other one. I had charged batteries, but if you have things that use the 9-volt or the other ones, make sure you have spare batteries on there. I don't have a first aid kit on here or your SDS sheet folder, but I would like both of those to be on the vehicle as well. And a fire extinguisher. I would love for you to take the time to pull everything out of your vehicles take a vehicle truck checklist and just put everything back in the vehicle. That way you know that what's on that vehicle checklist matches what's in your vehicle. And you can always adjust these truck checklists. I have a company in North Carolina that they don't keep the portable extractors on the vehicles anymore. They have 2 extractor trailers. And when they need extraction, they send out the extraction trailer. That's how they run their operation. So we redid all their truck checklists and took the extractors and the wands and everything off of them because that's not how they run anymore. And updated it so that it's relevant. You want your vehicle truck checklist to be relevant. You want it to be something that you're checking every time, right? And that works for your vehicle. So if you guys have the time, if you don't have the time, make the time. Everybody empty out their vehicles, put it back together, and print out a clean copy of that vehicle truck checklist.